Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is John Imperial. Recently, I shared with you guys my home office makeover, and I thought it would be cool if we did kind of like a breakdown video where we talk about why this space is designed the way it is. My goal in this video is to hopefully give you guys a roadmap, not so you can have a beautiful space, although that can be a byproduct of the things that I'll share with you. But the focus is so that you can have a space that works for you. I think it's easy to tell you guys you should buy this product or this product and it would make your space look nice, but it's a completely different thing to have a space that's functional, and I think that's even more important. Designing can be a very personal process, and so don't take this as the only way or the right way of doing things. This is me simply sharing how I do things, and I'm just hoping to help you out if you're a little bit lost. I will try to keep this video as concise as possible. YouTube isn't really good for long video formats, but if you guys are interested in a more in-depth video, let me know in the comments below how you guys want me to deliver that. Would you guys be interested in a course or something? Again, let me know. So there are several things that I consider when I'm designing. We'll go over those, and at the same time, I'll share with you guys some context of how that applies to me and this space. The first thing I do is determine my goals for the project, and this can be a simple list of needs and wants. In architecture, we have this thing called a program, which is essentially a list of requirements from our clients. Most of the time, this list doesn't really change much, although of course, sometimes opportunities come up. So when that happens to you, feel free to add things onto this list. Having a list like this is very important, especially in the design part. Sometimes you get stuck trying to make a decision, so you can go back to this list and try to figure out which one is the right path. For me, my needs are very straightforward. I want a space that I can film in. I want a space where I can do my architectural work and meetings. I want a space where I can game at night. And I want to be able to achieve all of that with as little resistance as possible. If you have an existing space like I do, it would be a good idea to assess how you use your space on a daily and weekly basis so that you can have a good understanding of how you can improve it. After working in this space for a little bit over a year, I figured out what I like and dislike. So let's take a look at my home office floor plan. I'll go ahead and turn on the layer of my previous layout. And as you can see, I'll put in a picture right here so you guys can remember how it looked like. First picture I'll show is if you were standing here looking at the desk. The second picture, I'll show the picture of you standing over here looking at the console table. And then the other picture is you standing right there looking at the gaming setup. So before, if I wanted to film, I usually would take this gaming setup and move it over to this corner right here. And then what I would do is I'd put my light somewhere right here and then my camera looking straight on, and I'd be sitting right here. Filming wise, this works, but sometimes there are multiple shooting days, so I would have to keep this setup right there. And the problem is I would have difficulty accessing this bookshelf right here. Sometimes I need to go either under the desk, or sometimes I need to weave through the lights and the camera just to have access to it. And sometimes I would film diagonally on this corner right here. And so the same thing happens, and sometimes even worse, I block this bookshelf right here, and I'm also blocking my desk. And like I said, this is important if I'm having like multiple shoot days. Another issue that I would have with my previous setup is when I'm doing my architecture work. So let me move this camera and lights out. Usually I would move my desk, this gaming desk over here, and I move it over to the left for a very specific reason. The thing is, I'm left-handed, and so I want to be able to go over to my left side with my left hand, mark up drawings, measure some stuff, and then be able to just go back to my mouse and keyboard without crisscrossing my arm, because if it was on the right side, I'd have to do this and overextend myself every time. Very specific, like I said, but it makes a big difference. So I'm able to put my full-size drawings here, or my iPad, or whatever else I'm referring to, without having to move around too much. The other use case that I have was if I am meeting with a client. I would basically just take this whole thing and rotate it around and put it more towards the middle. And this actually works really well, although this can get a little bit tighter. I'm pretty sure this is less than 2 feet and this is less than 3 feet. And the last thing is, after a day's worth of work, I would want to move this back into this corner so that I can game at night. And although I love that I have that much flexibility in the space that I had, the barrier of creating was just a little bit higher than I would want. And so I really wanted to try to make things better. The second thing I factor in are the limitations of the space. There is a famous quote that goes, "Out of limitations comes creativity." For most of us, we have an apartment, a room, or a house that was designed by someone else, which means there are things about your space that you have no control over unless you do drastic moves. Things like door locations, windows, lighting fixtures, ceiling heights, utilities can affect what you can do in your space greatly. By assessing your space, you get to figure out the limitations of your space, and you can decide whether you want to accept that, alter that, or address it. Accept, alter, and address is something that I just made up just so it would be a lot cooler to refer to. They all start with an A. Accept is basically just something that you want to accept, like just take it for what it is. Alter is maybe something that you can do yourself. Maybe it's a wall that you can repaint or patch up. And the last thing is address, something that maybe you need to hire a professional for. So let's go back to the floor plan and let's take a look at the limitations of my space. First thing is, it has a 7-foot high ceilings, which I am accepting. I'm not touching that. I have 2 in-swinging doors, meaning it opens up to the room. Also, I'm accepting that. I have 2 windows that I am also accepting. I don't really want to touch that. One thing that I did want to alter was the paint of the walls. It came with like a beige color, and so I painted it with this glacial stream paint from Sherwin-Williams and Black Forest Green for the accent wall from Benjamin Moore. If you saw my makeover video, I had 1 light fixture in the whole room, and so I decided to get something bigger just so I could have a better light distribution in the space. I did that myself, but for something a little bit more major like the lack of outlets in the space, I only have 4 outlets in 2 walls. So I have 1, 2, 3. So I only have 4 outlets in this space. And the problem with that was if I needed to plug in something, it had to be kind of in this general region, or I should run like an outlet or an extension cord so that I can plug something in. So what I did was I hired somebody to add an outlet right here and also add a ceiling vent, because I have an electric baseboard heater right here that wasn't really heating up the space properly, and so our electrical bill just went up. Aside from figuring out the limitations of the space, I also like trying to determine the sun orientation. And you can easily figure this out by opening your compass app on your iPhone or go to Google Maps. Basically, I try to locate where north is in this drawing. It's just straight up. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, the sun rises in the east and arcs down south and sets on the west and east. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it goes north, arcs north, and then goes west. And this is important so that you know generally how the sun will hit your space. So for me, I have 2 windows. One is exposed directly on the east, so in the morning I get good morning sun. And then I have one on the west, and so I get good afternoon sun. And this is a perfect segue to my third point, which is preferences. We all have our own quirks. Some people like working facing a window. Some people like working facing a door. Some people don't really mind just looking, staring at a wall because they don't want to be distracted. Only you know what you like. For me, one of my preferences, especially for this space, is that I did not want to be in front of a window, because if I were to put a desk right here or right here, Then in the morning, if I was sitting right here, I would get that morning sun shining on my face, and that would be annoying. And then if I were sitting right here, then in the afternoon, I would get the same effect. And so that's why it's important to know how the sun affects your space. And your preferences might be a lot more than mine, but that's why it's important, because the same reason why we write our needs and wants down, this will also help you in your decision making. So now I know that putting a desk right here and here is a no-go. So before we proceed with the video, I wanted to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Paperlike. Even though they are sponsoring this video, I have been a big believer of their product. I've been using their screen protector since 2019 on all of my iPads, and it has greatly improved my experience when it comes to writing and sketching. The iPad that I've been using for this video has Paperlike on it. Prior to having Paperlike, I hated sketching on my iPad, and it was because of the glass. It felt unnatural. It also felt like there were times when I couldn't control the tip of the pen properly. Paperlike is using a nano dot technology that makes writing and sketching on your iPad as natural as if you were writing on paper. As an architect, it's a big improvement, and it's the reason why I'm comfortable doing work on my iPad. If you want to get yours, I'll leave a link in the description below, and thank you Paperlike for sponsoring this video. And this brings me to the fourth factor, which is taking note of your key pieces. What are key pieces? It's basically just things that you're set on bringing onto your space. It's either something that you already have or something that you're thinking of buying. If you have them already, of course, you want to make sure that you can buy complementary pieces. And if you don't have them yet, you want to make sure that they work in your space. For me, I only had a handful of things that I wanted to keep for sure. And those are the two bookshelves right here. 1, 2. The gaming setup, and this narrow cabinet. Not pretty, but I wanted to make sure that I have enough storage for the new space. I also wanted to make sure that I have enough space for my new Ergonoffice desk and the neat filing cabinet. Other than those, I was ready to buy things that would make the space work and give away things that I don't need. So if you guys need help with cleaning, decluttering, or organizing, go ahead and watch this video right here that I created. That's the first step that I would recommend, especially if you already have a space. You wouldn't want to bring all the clutter that you have onto your new one. One tip that I want to give you guys so that you can take note of your key pieces is to have notes on your phone with the dimensions of your new furniture or things that you're planning to buy. This will save you a lot of time, because for me, I found myself having to measure and remeasure the same things over and over. So having those readily available would make it easier if you're trying to sketch, mock up, or 3D model your space. So let's continue to look at my home office and go over some of the schemes that I had. Let's go back to the floor plan first though. There are several things that I know that I wanted to get rid of. It was this desk was gonna go. I gave it to my wife. This console table, I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep. And also the printer stand, I'm not sure what I was gonna do with it. And also I knew that I had to do something because my Ergonoffice desk was gonna be a lot bigger. So even if I were to center it right there, it is super close to hitting this door right here, one. And it also pinches this space a lot more, which I kind of told you guys that I wanted to fix a little bit. I wanted to widen it as much as possible. So I thought, why not maybe move this bookshelf over right next to it. I thought that was a good idea. I thought that would allow me to have at least this big of a hallway, you can say. And so I use that as a starting point. So let's go over the first scheme that I want to share with you guys. So as you can see, this is the bookshelf that we were talking about. I put them side by side right there. I have my Ergonoffice desk right over here, the neat filing cabinet over to that side, which, as I said, I wanted to have. This gaming desk is kind of standing right in the middle. This allowed me to possibly move my desk over here when I need to meet with clients and move it over here when I need to draw, which still is a lot of moving, but it kind of worked. Also, I put the storage cabinet on this corner along with a cubby that I thought would be a nice addition. The problem with this is it still required a lot of moving. Also, one other problem that I had, other than it feeling tight when I'm sitting right here, moving left and right, is that I actually have a desk drawer underneath the desk where I store a lot of my architecture tools. So there was a little bit of conflict there. And also, aside from that, my idea for the cubby really didn't work. One of the things I thought of doing was, what if I grab the desk and the neat filing cabinet and maybe rotate it and move things around from that. And so that's the next option that we're gonna look at. As you can see here, I have the desk flipped, and then I went ahead and moved this cubby right here, and I actually love the look of it, and I actually had my light sticking up right there. I really love the contrast of all of the materials on here with the lighter gray walls. I also love that I had my gaming right here. In this space, I was able to keep relatively big and wide, which is good. It's about 4 feet. And then I moved my storage cabinet in this corner, which I think works really well. Plus, this scheme allowed me to keep the printer in the office while the other one didn't. Another thing that I like about this is that if I were filming, I could leave my lights here and my camera right here, and I still have ample space to weave through it and access the bookshelves. If I had a full-size drawing, right, say this is my full-size drawing, it's on my right side. And like I said earlier, I want it to be on my left so that I don't have to kind of crisscross my hand. And up until this point, this was actually my favorite scheme, and I thought I was gonna go with this, and I thought I couldn't have it any better until I thought about maybe I can figure out a way where I could achieve the same thing, basically have this same layout, so to speak, mount my monitor and all of that stuff, but have it over to my right. And that's when I realized I could have the scheme that I have now. So let me show you that scheme. And this truly is, I think, the best layout for this space. As you can see, the previous desk was right here along with the neat filing cabinet. I just kind of flipped that, and I was able to achieve almost everything that I want. I was able to keep this hallway, walkway type of thing. I was able to plug my lights over here, and then I have another light right there. I put my lamp over here so that I could have more lighting in this room. My gaming setup was fixed over this way. It created a much better flow. It's just a little bit wider overall. And let me explain to you the different ways I use it and how and why it works. First thing that we talked about was filming. So when I'm filming, I sit right here, as you can see right now. And since I'm using an Ergotron arm, I can easily swing my monitor around using that mount. I move it over to the side a little bit. I have my camera right there sitting on the tripod, and then I have my light over here. And this works because, as you can tell, I only had to move the monitor, and I can just sit here, be able to film, and not worry about everything else that you can see on my desk and forward, unless of course I want to show my desk. If I were to have multiple shooting days, I can easily weave through this, all of this stuff, and have access to my storage here and here, and also be able to still game. So those uses are not affected. Also, I decided to put the cubby right here as a backdrop for my shots, as you can see right there. I think it looks cool. I did decide to put the walnut finish on it just to have a little bit more contrast with the walls. It works really well. I love having quick access to my stuff that's hidden. It looks pretty. I don't have to hide a bunch of things. They're all already hidden in those cubbies, and it's easy for me to film, and I don't have to prepare as much. When I'm done filming, or when I'm not filming, I just move over my lights, put it right on this corner. I grab the camera and put it on this corner, and then I still have a path to go in, out, and then I could also still grab my gaming desk setup, and roll it out of the door. The second thing that I use it for is architecture, and particularly when I'm just working by myself and I'm not meeting with clients. I typically would pull my monitor over kind of somewhere kind of in the middle, and then I would work just kind of like this. And I can easily lay down drawings over on this side of the desk, which is good. Like I said, I want it to be on my left side. I've said that so many times. And I can also have other references over on this side because I actually have quite a bit of space on my left side, which is just perfect. And when I need to meet with clients, it's easily convertible, if you can even call it that. It's honestly just as simple as turning this monitor over kind of that way. And then I just essentially bring in chairs so that my clients can sit right here. I could have one right here even. And I can still control the monitor while I'm having my meetings. So I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something from this video. Like I said, there are so many more things to talk about. So if you guys want an in-depth video, please let me know in the comments below and we'll try to make it happen. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. It really helps out this channel. That's one of the best ways you can help support me so that I can create more videos like this. Go ahead and share it with a friend, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.